and welcome to the BASC-3 Smart Template tutorial. When you first come to your BASC-3 Smart Template, the first thing you're going to want to do is select the number of raters that you need to report for. So if you are lucky enough to get back more than one rating scale, you'll make that selection at the top here. And as you can see, when I click these checkboxes, the correct number of columns will populate in both my table and my graph. So just a note on this, if you select 4 or 5 raters, you will have to manually input this information into your narrative. The narrative will compare the first 3 raters for you. But you can compare 4 and 5 quickly and easily with both the table and this color-coded graph. All right, so after you make your rater selection, if you gave just the preschool battery, you will check this box, and the correct rows will be removed from both your table and your graph, and only the areas that are showing up on the table will be in your narrative. And then same thing for social, emotional, and adaptive. If you're somebody that reports these sections separately, you can do so easily by checking these different boxes here. All right, after you have done everything that you need to manipulate your table and selected your number of raters, you're going to scroll down to the bottom of the page and you're going to input your rater information. So as you can see, some of these boxes are blacked out if they're not applicable for the different rater. And if I change, mother to special education teacher, the correct areas will be either blacked out or available for you to input the score. All right, now I'm going to quickly input some of this information. Just making up a few random names here. All right, and then I am going to show you that those names populate for you at the top of your table and at the top of your graph. Okay, now that I have my names in there, I'm going to go ahead and start inputting my scores. So I've scored this and I come back with my scores here and I'm going to start putting them in. And as you can see, when I put these in, there are going to be different asterisks that populate to describe the score. And the key for this is at the bottom of the table. When you copy and paste this, this key will be down at the bottom of the table so parents can quickly and easily reference it, and it helps them understand the scores. And you'll also notice that as I'm inputting scores, my graph is changing colors based on the score. This is something that is super, super helpful for parents to see because, you might have a situation where you have a parent who's seeing just major issues and everything's within the red, but then your teacher's really not seeing that. And that's an important thing to note in your evaluation. And with this graph, it just helps people understand and conceptualize really what you're seeing. Okay, so after I put in my information in my table, I'm going to scroll down and put in my examining first name. And then I'm going to make my selection for gender. So male is he, him. Pronouns, female is going to be she, her, and neutral is they, them. So this will populate correctly within your narrative based on your selection. And then I can also change my F index, response pattern, and consistency based on my score report. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click Generate Narrative, and you'll see that my BASC graph has scrolled down to the bottom of the screen to make room for my narrative. And I'm going to quickly point out a few of the things that this narrative will do for you. So the names that we put at the bottom are now populating up at the top for us. And it'll say was completed by her mother, Miss Smith, general education teacher, Mr. Bell, and math teacher, Miss Magoo. And the student's name that we put in there is populated throughout the entire narrative. All right, and then I'm going to show you, so what we put in the table is now populated over to our narrative. This is going to correlate exactly with what we put in here. So Jennifer's overall level of externalizing problems was rated to be in the at-risk range by Ms. Smith, within the at-risk range by Mr. Bell, and within the clinically significant range by Ms. Magoo. And since we had a score that was in the above average range, a sentence will populate for us that lets us know about that. So this one says, the presence of an elevated score indicates that Jennifer exhibits externalizing problems and may struggle to keep her impulses under control and has been observed to act out in various ways that are detrimental to her academic success. This will only populate if there is a score within the above average range. And let me show you one that does not have a score within the above average range. So let's look at behavioral symptoms. Behavioral symptoms is all within the average range. And you can see that is what is going to be within our narrative. Jennifer received scores within the average range by all evaluators on this measure, suggesting that these behaviors are observable across different environments. So these are just a few things that this narrative is doing for you that help really expedite this process of comparing these raters and putting scores and all of that stuff. And now I'm going to show you what these buttons down here do. So after you've generated your narrative, you've put in all your information, now you want to get this stuff into your report. So I'm going to use this first copy table button. There's actually two options for copying the table. I'm going to walk you through both of them. So after I copy that, I'm going to paste this over, and you're going to see these different paste options. If I am good with the font and the sizing that is in the web-based table, I can go ahead and do keep source formatting. If I want to change this to match the formatting of what's within my Word document or my report application, I'm going to do merge formatting. I'll go ahead and do merge formatting. And if you make this selection, you might notice that your table is pretty long. And this is easily manipulated just by dragging these rows in any way that you need. You know, you can make it however you want. Everything is totally able to be manipulated when you use this first copy table button. Okay, but maybe you don't want to report it like that. You don't feel like manipulating your table. You don't need to edit anything. All right, so in that case, you might prefer to use the copy picture of table button. And for some people that use different report applications, the copy picture of table button is going to be what you want to use because this is what will integrate with your system. And you probably saw, but when I clicked this, I had to wait for a confirmation. So it might take a second, and then you'll get this confirmation that says copied picture. So you are ready to roll once you see that. And I am going to go ahead. The only paste option is that one because that's all you can do for this one, but you can drag this and make it larger or do whatever you need for this. And sometimes too, if you prefer to just do one at a time, like if you only do social emotional and then you do adaptive, you can separate these tables out. Sometimes that's a little bit of a cleaner look, but it really just depends on your system and what you like best. Okay, so then after I do that, I am going to copy my narrative. And I'm going to paste this. Same thing, you can paste it with the fonts that we have. You can merge your formatting to match with what you like. This is usually the selection that I make just because I really like that Calibri font. I think it's pretty and easier on the eyes. Okay, so then once I have that, and you can see too, this is formatted nicely already for me with bolding and italicizing and all of that stuff. And now I just want my graph. So to get my graph, same thing, I'm going to hit this and I'll get this confirmation that it's copied. And then I'm going to paste that in. And this can be manipulated just like our other graph with choosing the fonts and the size. And then just like with the first table, you can change this and make this smaller, you know, manipulate it however you need to, or you can just use this button. So really manipulate it any way that fits your needs. And that wraps up our BASC-3 Smart Template tutorial. If you need anything at all or you have additional questions, please reach out to me, Jenna at schoolsiteclickreports.com. All right, have a great day. Bye.